Welcome back to We Care a Lot. I'm half the podcast, Sam.
I'm the other half, Mel.
Hey, you guys. If you watched last week's episodes, we're in the same outfit today. Don't worry about it.
We're batching content, so
it's fine. We're gonna be just as entertaining, I promise. So today we're talking about posting on Instagram and just like kind of like the cringiness
of it all.
Yeah.
Of what you're putting on there.
And how far is too far. Like, I think there's a lot of arguments to be made about creating art and like
yeah, and like appropriateness of what you put on the internet.
Correct. Maybe this is particular to our niche of people. Like creatives.
Got it.
Girlies who love the gossip. I don't know. Maybe this isn't everyone's experience on Instagram, but it's ours. And if it's yours, I'm glad you're here. Number one thing I think of when I post on Instagram, when it's like maybe a little bit like, is this too far? I think of my family.
Yeah.
And it's like, is this cringe? Like, can they even like this? Like, is it inappropriate to send me a like on that?
I have that. I mean, I think I don't post even like things that I question because of that exact thought.
You just won't post it.
I just won't post it. I think I definitely had like a different way of going about things before like my family started to follow me on Instagram. It was like the moment where they were like still on Facebook and that's it.
Yeah, you said,
and I was like, okay,
me.
I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna go rogue. But now it's like clean cut and I mean, not
you
actually,
said
but
this was so PG.
Literally,
this weekend was so PG, Mom. Yeah, I think like literally, I hung out last night with my cousin, and she's from out of town, so I don't see her that often, or she lives out of town now, and I don't see her that often. And she's talking to me about Instagram. She was like, "Yeah, I saw your post." Like, I was like, "Oh, that's a nice butt. That's a nice butt." Liked it, scrolled, and then I was just like, dude. So I'm like, okay, this is clearly how. I mean, she's a girl, so for her, she's like my cousin. Like, it's not a big deal to her. She's the same age group as me. But like,
but if you could see like your aunt doing that, and you're like, oh,
yeah, or like my male cousins, I'm like, but also, I'm like, you know what? We need as women, or maybe just everybody as a culture, we need to get over the fact that we are sexual people and beings. God forbid that anyone in our family realizes that.
That part,
like.
Oh, she wants to be seen as sexy. My bad.
Whoa.
Like, that's not okay?
Right. And then you just feel like, am I a whore? Like, wait a minute. Like, I'm not doing, like, it's all about intentions too, you know, which, you know, people don't know based on you posting it. But inside, you got to know that I'm not posting this because I want people to DM me and message me and hype me up and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm posting this because I think this is genuinely, like, either a cool photo or I think I look really good. Yeah. It's not that deep, and like our generation of parents and like the adults, older elders in our family come from such a different like scope of the world and expectations of them, so it can be harder to just kind of let it go. You know, it's like my dad honestly genuinely doesn't understand social media. He's like, he just thinks everyone's seeking validation on social media, which, like, he's not wrong. It is a device for that. But I'm also like, okay, but there's also, like, a side where it's, like, you connect with people, you educate people, you inspire people. Like, there's a lot of good that comes out of social media. Or just having access to so many people. Yeah. So, like, you know, there's a grain of salt to everything. You can't just call everything art that you post on Instagram and be like, but Mom, it's art.
But Mom, it's art, and people are liking it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think there's also, like, a side of, like, not even family seeing this, but also, like, I think it was so engraved into us of, like, you can't delete anything off the internet, and, like, what if a job sees this that you want to apply for, like, blah, 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 and you're like, okay, but what are they going to come tell me? Like, why are boobs out? Why are you sexualizing me?
I mean, like, obviously your titties can't actually be, like, just, I mean,
yeah,
depending on the job, you know.
And that's a question of, like, how far is too far?
Exactly.
You know, I do see something within, like, queer people on Instagram like a lot of people have like full-time jobs, right? And I'm like, y'all are literally like posting yourselves like ass out, and like not even just like in a bathing suit or like
thong, or
no, it's like,
or naked.
It's like naked, like just holding things up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, or it's like a like I saw someone like literally like bent out, like bent back. What? Like kind of like arched
from
back.
Behind?
Yeah.
Like the photo was
but
from
like
behind.
You're like this, you know, like looking back at it.
Art.
Literally,
It sounds arty.
It sounds
as well.
artsy.
Okay.
But I'm also like, it's funny because I'm like, your employers aren't gonna say anything. They're not gonna be like, why are you posting this?
They'd be like, you need to be on private. Like, if they're not gonna address it, you know, it's gonna be like, hey babe, maybe you want, obviously not babe, but
your employer's like,
hey babe.
Us as HR people. But anyway, that comes to mind a lot when I'm like, how far is too far, you know?
Well, so my mom's in HR, so I feel like I've talked to her about this, and it's honestly just, it depends on the company. Like, my mom doesn't work in a creative industry. It's very much logistics. And for them, there is probably more of a boundary with that. I think if you work in a creative field, there's a lot less restriction in that way, because it's like, oh, they're creative, like look how much they put, like whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like, it all just comes down to like the brand's reputation or whatever. So like, if your employer is like, hey babe, I could see, literally, like, I think you do have to be private if you're going to be kind of off the cuff a little.
That's so interesting to me, because I'm also like, why are people seeking out my private life?
It literally, like,
you know
it just comes upon my mom's like desk, you know, like it'll be like some other bitch is complaining, like, well, did you know that Lizette posts on Instagram, and it's like, these are like screenshots, sends it like tattletale.
That's so interesting. I also just feel like that's their personal life / like, there's no company name attached to the page,
right? As long as it's not like at the company name.
It's like working at FedEx, and you're just like, and you're like in your little FedEx shorts or whatever.
Literally.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it. That's different.
Like, we're gonna draw a line.
But if you're just like your own being, and this is just a job you have, and there's no correlation between the two, you wouldn't know where I work.
I think we're coming to a place where we're more accepting as a society that people are multidimensional.
Right.
Oh my gosh, crazy.
Oh my God, crazy thought.
Yeah. I agree.
But yeah. I think for us, it's less about like
being employable.
No. We're like, we don't care about being employed.
Yeah, I was like, being employable, whatever.
I think it's less about like the photos we take, because I think even for both of us, like, we wouldn't ever be too risky or like risque or whatever. But it's more so like this shit we say on this podcast. I think a lot of the time, like, we want to be like super open, but we're like,
I don't want to offend people.
I don't want to offend people. B, I don't necessarily want certain like people knowing my business.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay to tell, like,
certain
I don't know
things.
everybody who listens to this podcast, like, personally. And I wouldn't care for everyone to know that. But then there's certain people that I know in my personal life that I'm like, I don't think you need to know all this. But I can't stop them from listening.
Right. You're like, we're doing it to ourselves.
Yeah. So it's like that's the balance of like,
how far is too far. Yeah. I mean, I think we've come a long way in terms of the podcast and like expressing ourselves. Like, I think nowadays we just kind of restrict the actual topics to things we don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
You know? Like, we're not going to give specific sex tips on here for free, or we're not going to talk about how to do things illegally or something, because
oh my God,
because I don't do anything illegal.
I'm very much about the law.
I love respecting law and order. Anyways, but yeah.
What did you say? If you ever meet a libertarian, run.
Yeah. What did she say about that? She said something else too. I don't remember, but
anyway.
Yeah. I think also the other side is people think you're being conceited, and it's like, I mean, that's kind of,
I'm like,
it has nothing to do with you though. Like, right? Like, if they comment, you're so conceited, I'd be like, right. I do love myself. How about you?
How about you, queen? No, yeah, I think anyone who, I think that concept just like has fucking died at this point, because I feel like it used to be an insult.
It's like we are all conceited at this point.
we are all narcissistic in a way. Like, if you're not, especially creatives, y'all are big old narcissists. It's okay.
Yeah.
I don't, okay, maybe I'm using that word too loosely,
Not
but y'all are
narcissists, yeah.
obsessed with yourselves.
Conceited.
You're
Yeah.
conceited. It's okay. It just means that you're a little bit like,
It's good to have some pride and confidence in who you are.
period.
Come on. Don't be insecure.
But anyway, I think that concept has died. I think now it's like, oh, I think they like themselves. That's strange.
And it's like, if you think I look ugly in this, okay. It's not like you're going to say anything to me. And if you do, then that's
I dare
on
you to say it to my face.
Right.
Say it to my fucking face.
And then it's like, you get scared of being judged or being embarrassed by what you post because you're like, well, people from high school or people from college or my extended ex's fucking stepsister's brother is gonna see, you know, that would be your ex. Your stepsister's fucking cousin. I don't know. Like, you just get embarrassed of who's gonna see it, and maybe that like hinders people from posting.
Yeah.
But also I think there's just such like a freedom and liberating feeling of people who post because they want to and they enjoy what they're posting. And when I personally see people posting whatever it is, regardless of likes or how many followers they have, I'm like, period. Like, you're interested in this subject matter. You took the time, because I personally know how much it takes to edit something or record something or whatever. So like, it's easier to respect it and be like, I understand how much work this took, and you could have just not posted it because you were too embarrassed. Like, it takes a certain person and confidence to put yourself out there.
Yeah. As to why I haven't posted in years. Anyway,
Girl.
That's another topic. Yeah. I think I'm kind of dealing with like embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily that like I'm embarrassed of like my life or anything in that way. I think it's just like I think I'm comparing myself to like what I used to like influencers and what I used to look like as well when I was younger. Mostly
That's
skinny.
so harmful to you.
No, I know. But I think like I just personally like look at like old stuff, and then like having this new version of me at the top is very triggering to myself to be like compared to one another. So I think I'm struggling with like just like fully just
like living
embracing this
now.
Yeah. I think that also was a very big shift for me to do when like I came out. Like just shamelessly like posting
Your partner.
my partner and like my love story and just like my life honestly with my partner. I think for a long time I didn't really post much about it, not because I was embarrassed, but I think I just like had this like moment of like, not everyone in my family knows I'm gay, you know?
Yeah.
And like when the moment I post this, like everyone will know.
It's almost like you're kind of putting yourself, you're putting yourself out there and having confidence and being vulnerable to accept people either talking behind your back
and
or confronting you. Right.
And they did.
Yeah. So it's fucking scary.
And I think like with that comes its own like posting about like your queer relationship comes with its own set of issues. I feel like for me personally, anything that I did that was like physical intimacy that like I posted, I got a lot of, I don't even want to say feedback. It was literally like stupid criticism that I was like being too sexual on like my social media accounts, when I'm like, you're
like,
just,
again, you're sexual
I
being.
think you're just that too, but I also just feel like you guys are over sexualizing my relationship with a woman because it's with a woman.
Like if it was a dude.
Like if this isn't porn. Like, you know what I mean? This is just me kissing my girlfriend. But I think that for everyone else, they misconstrued it in their own fucking brains, and it made it like really weird.
Like they weren't ready fully to accept
exactly
where you were at.
And I think that
which isn't
like
your responsibility.
Yeah. And I think I would have cared less if I wasn't like directly involved with these people at the time. But like in the moment, like I would have to constantly see these like people that were speaking to me in this way, and so like I think once I moved away, I was like, I don't give a fuck. This is my life.
It's a lot easier. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck who's seeing it and who has anything to say, and like I'm definitely more comfortable with that aspect of myself now. I'm more so it's just me. Like I don't know what I want to post about myself, but yeah, I don't know. I think that's different.
I think you definitely have to remember too, like specifically, I know we're nostalgia girlies, so looking on the past is like one of our favorite things to do. And
I'm like plugging our nostalgia episode
literally
right here.
Go listen to the nostalgia episode because it's a good one. But you're gonna look back on the years you didn't post. Not to say you don't still have photos of this time, but Instagram is this special time capsule.
It really is, though.
And you're gonna look back. I don't want to make you feel like you regret anything, because whatever. But like, I don't want you to look back and be like, what happened those few years?
I didn't. No, and I have a gap of time when like I was blonde.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's not really like showcased on there.
So you're gonna go blonde, so we can do it again.
I honestly have been thinking like, I want to grow my hair long and then
do the thing
again.
Or
no, I think blonde. Not platinum. I said platinum.
Platinum.
Not platinum, but like I did it again. Platinum. Jesus.
Howdy.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What I was saying is there's a gap in time where like I didn't do that because I think I was going through the same things that I am now.
Exactly.
Like, feeling like I gained a lot of weight, which I did, and it's fine. But like I didn't feel comfortable with myself. But now I'm like, you had so many moments where you were having so much fun. And I remember them, and there's other photos, but they never made it to the gram. And I'm like,
yeah.
Now, like, when I look at the feed of it all, I'm like, it's not there.
Yeah. Sad. I think, like, some people might be listening to us and be like, oh my God, it's fucking Instagram.
It's just Instagram. You're so dramatic.
And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm conceited and I like to look at my Instagram from time to time. Whatever. But it's not because I'm like, oh, I was so prettier. It's like, that was such a good time. Like, it's just nice to remind yourself of, like, one, how far you've come. It's like reading a journal, low-key. Like, if you're using Instagram in a way that not tells a story, because it's like maybe a bit too much, but like tells the story of your life in some form.
Capacity. To yourself, at least. Like, where you can look at it. It's literally a scrapbook.
Yeah, it's a scrapbook. So,
and I like that we're saying this, because I feel like me and Jen constantly talk about how we used to take so many fucking photos in the beginnings of our friendship.
Oh my God, we stopped.
Like, when we were like not freshmen, we were like seniors and then freshmen and juniors.
Like going into
college basically. We used to take so many photos. I like literally would have, I guess, like photo shoots with one another, but not even like, it was just so like natural to our everyday like hangouts. Like it was just a part of things of like, hey, take a photo of me right here, like the sunset looks cool or whatever. And like now it's not like that, but I think there also has been like a shift of like, although we are living in such a like influencer heavy, like everything has to be documented state of being.
Embarrassing to be those people in public or something?
I think it's shifted to like, these people are like doing too much. They think they're this way. And I don't think that I've necessarily like taken that on, but I think that it's like a subconscious thing of like, enjoy the moment for what it is. But I'm like, sometimes I do want to.
You're like, I still enjoyed those moments.
Yeah.
When you're
I think there's a balance though. Like, you can't just be literally like looking at the screen while you're enjoying the moment, because then it's like you're just gonna remember for the video, you're not gonna remember it for it happening.
I do think if you genuinely struggle with like how much you take photos, and like if people are telling you like, hey, like when we hang out all you want to do is take pictures of what we're doing, then you probably have a problem. But I think in most cases we have like a very healthy relationship with how often we're taking photos, or like it's honestly to the point where sometimes you don't take a photo because you're like, well, I don't look good enough for it to be posted, or I don't exactly. And it's like, who cares if we like, again, you don't have to post everything. Instagram also only lets you post 10 at a time, so it's not like you're gonna post every single moment from the day. That doesn't have to be the case. Like, if you don't want the whole world to see your no makeup face or whatever the issue is that day or whatever, it's not even about that. It's like, don't be embarrassed to be like, hey guys, let's take a photo. You know, like I feel like we don't do that anymore. We're not just like, hey, let's take a group photo.
I think we need to go back to the days where like digital cameras like first existed and everyone had one because you always wanted to take photos with your friends and stuff. And I think that's a reason why like digital cameras are coming back, and why film photography came back like for the average consumer or user is because I think we're missing the context. We had been missing the context of like the spontaneity of a photo being taken. Yeah. And I think now, of course you can make longer forms of content or like more edited or curated content with it. But I think to the, just like the average moment, it's nice to have the, let's take a photo together, you know? I feel like it's cute to see photos, and this is like more physical forms of it, but like it's cute to see like that big box of family photos that you have, and there's like your mom and like two other people that you have no idea who they are, but like your mom, best friends at like the time. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Yeah. And just Instagram's our box of photos
Instagram
now.
is sort of the box of photos.
Yeah.
I do want to get back to printing photos, but that's a whole
Me too.
nother
That's another story.
But yeah, I think you just need to like let go of the shame aspect or embarrassment aspect, because at the end of the day you do still have control over what goes on the internet and what you can take off the internet if you decide you don't like it anymore. And I think there's also the aspect of like, for me personally, I make like baking videos, and I'm like, sometimes I'm like so cringe, like so cringe, like she's putting some recipe she made online,
They
like
never look cringe.
they just feel
But they
cringe.
feel cringe to you. I get what you're saying.
And I'm like, why am I cringing about something I genuinely enjoy doing and sharing on the internet?
Because there's like a sense of like rejection that you might feel, and you're like,
yeah,
okay, but the moment it happens, then what? Are you
Right.
gonna delete the video?
right.
Are you gonna delete the rest of the one that you posted?
Yeah.
No.
And it's also, okay, so I was reading The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, and
Did you finish it?
I did. In one chapter, he said artists or creatives have a lot of problems with finally just like releasing art, because they always are like, it's gonna get better, or I can make it better, or it's not good enough, or it's not complete yet. And really, when you put out art, you're putting out that chapter of whatever, that part of your life. Like you're stamping something. And there's so many things I came out with that were like so cringe and whatever, but I enjoy looking back at them, because whether people were cringing then when I posted it, like I get to look back now and be like, look how far I've come. Like, fuck you people for cringing.
Yeah.
Like, I kept at it, and look how much better I got at it, or whatever. So like,
Also, though, like I think what you're probably like talking about is like your blog in general.
yeah,
First of all, like I think at the time, like blogging was such a thing that was like cool, but like not a lot of people did it. It was mostly like celebrities or people who were like in the entertainment industry who like everyone had a blog.
yeah,
But the average person didn't. And I think that is just also like a timestamp of the time.
like when I decided to do it.
But also it's like a time of the time.
Yeah.
Like you were following I don't want to say like you were a trend follower, but like you were following a certain type of like movement of creativity that was of the time that is like no longer really existing. But like, and it's making a comeback, but like you've stuck at it for a while now where like it's now
I'm like,
back
I'm,
at it.
I'm
You
in
know
the
what I
cycle,
mean?
babe. We're just gonna keep going through them up and down.
But I think that's like so special is like having like when I think about like the fucking MySpace photos that you would take from like a
Oh
high
my
angle
God.
or like in the mirror with flash,
yeah,
like those were a type of artistic viewpoint that was so like followed and like executed that it was a timestamp for the time. Or like flash photography, it's made a comeback for sure, but it was such a time of like the like 2000s,
right.
and like it's just so cool to have those pieces of like it's like a piece of history in my opinion.
And the art, like in whatever, depending on whatever you created. But like, yeah, I think it's just forgetting about what other people fucking think, honestly. Because like, even if you feel a little cringe about it, as long as you're like, I'm happy with it. Like for me, what I have to do, especially for things that are like maybe a little more cringe, I like take a full day of like watching the video or looking at the post or whatever. I mean, in general, the actual blog posts that I make are just like straight and to the point. I'm like, if someone wants to follow this recipe, follow the fucking recipe. Yeah, I don't really care. I mean, I care, but like, it's not this big fucking filler fluff piece with ads and whatever. But yeah, I think I have to like take a step back, because you get so invested in something, and like, I don't know, even just things you enjoy doing for fun on Instagram, like you take a step back and you're like, I want to do that differently now. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or like you're saying with trends, like even posting ugly ass MySpace style photos is like a thing now. It's like, you don't even look cute, but it's art. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like that curated, non-curated shit. Yeah. And like, I don't know. I think like at the end of the day, you just shouldn't fucking care about how cringy it is, because everyone has something that they quote unquote shouldn't have posted, but here it is, you know?
Yeah.
And you can always archive shit.
Yep.
In that same realm, how do you feel about like hiding likes on Instagram?
I feel like sometimes I have multiple thoughts. I feel like hiding likes is fine. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's like cringe when someone hides their likes. But it's like, I don't know, it creates another layer of like, oh, well, you didn't get a lot of likes. Like before hiding likes was a thing. Like, you don't get a lot of likes, so you delete it or whatever. But then also the thing with hiding likes is people might be less inclined to like it because you know, sometimes you would like something and you'd be like, oh, it only has this many likes, I want to get it to 100, or like I want to make sure I'm like supporting my friend because it's not getting a lot of likes, or it has 1 million likes, I have to like it, like apparently everyone likes it, you know, like likes would guide what you're liking. So on one hand, it kind of makes it neutral to where like I'm gonna like what I want to like, regardless of the likes. How many? Take a shot every time I said like. And on the other hand, you don't, because you don't know how many people liked it, and you're like, whatever, just go past it if I didn't like it, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they're cringe, or it is cringe to not or hide?
I think it's only cringe for like larger businesses. Like if you're fucking Nordstrom and you're hiding your likes, I just think it's weird. I don't necessarily think it's cringe. I think it's just weird.
It's suspicious.
It's suspicious is what
you're
it
like,
is.
so you have 100,000 followers but you're hiding your likes. I can't tell if you, but then you go to the reels and they have 100 views and you're like, maybe you bought those followers.
Yeah, I think that's more so when it comes to like the legitimacy of a business. And whether or not people are actually like buying enjoying products and enjoying things. That's when I find it weird. But and I feel like when it originally came up, I think I did feel like that's a bit cringy if like a person just like why are you hiding it? Like, are you embarrassed of what you posted? You know what I mean? Or you don't think it's good enough?
Yeah.
But I think like even now, the way that I feel about it is like, if you like this piece of content that I have put out or somebody else put out, it shouldn't matter like what the number is. Like just give them like that love, you know? It really like changes how you like I think for me it's like retraining my brain of like each like is a person. So like when I see it on the feed that tells you how many people liked it, like where you see each person, it's so much better for me to be like, oh my god, all these people liked it, versus just seeing a fucking small number.
That's true.
And I feel like 40 people is a lot of people.
40 people is
or
a
like
lot of
90 people is a lot of people. A fucking 1,000 people, that's crazy.
Like, I don't talk to 100 people a day.
No. And then when you get like something that goes viral and it's 500,000 people, you're like, holy shit. You know?
Yeah. Just feels like a big connection.
It really is crazy. So I don't think it's bad. I think I think it's just like for me and for maybe for a lot of people, it's just like at this point it's like a mental health thing of like I could care less how many things it gets. Yeah. It's like better to not see the thing. I don't know. I mean, that's my way of viewing it. Whenever I see like a friend who hid their likes, I'm just like, for sure, man.
For sure.
I don't even want to know how many.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like,
I didn't even realize that you could click it and then like look.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like hidden. No, I mean, not that I like care, but like,
but you could click. Yeah.
Like, what?
I do that with businesses. So
yeah,
like,
businesses, sure. Like, you said this is not giving 1,000.
I said there's 10 people in here.
And then I think the other side of that is like, do you hinder what you post or the content you want to put online based on what's going to perform best based on the algorithm? And I do think there's a balance there, because I do think like trending audios, it could on one hand hinder your creative process and make you make something just based on whatever, or it could inspire it. It could be like, oh, this is trending, oh my god, what's a really good idea, I'm gonna make something to this audio, or this audio goes perfect, and then it feels like fucking fate and destiny that it just worked out, and you're like, holy shit, I love it. But there's also the side of things where you just start posting to post, and like people who post like once a week or like once a day type beat, and it's like not even relevant. I do think that we can tell as just users of social media,
like what feels like artistically inclined or genuine
versus like I needed to get content out, which like I understand from like a business perspective or like personal branding, there's some nuance there, and which sucks because like you just want to post what is genuine to your consumer, whatever, as a brand.
And then there's like the balance of like not being forgotten by the algorithm, where like you haven't posted in like 5 days, and all of a sudden you're posting, it's like, oh, the algorithm now hates me.
I do think there needs to be a shift for businesses that marketing is creative. Just because it's social media doesn't make it any different from mainstream marketing anymore, you know, which now social media is mainstream marketing, but it's like there's whole teams that are devoted to just ad marketing or just digital marketing, to just give responsibility to one singular person to come up with a strategy and implementation and creating the content. And like, it just makes absolutely no sense, because you're going to drain that person to the point where the content does suck.
They have no ideas left.
Yeah.
And to that point, if you're not doing it to one person and you're like then looking for an agency of people to help you, don't complain about the price, because it's the labor that you're fucking paying for.
And the ideas.
And like the teamwork and the
flow, the care,
everything
of your brand. And people get so invested as creatives, especially, like, that they want it to succeed. So when it's based only on metrics or an output, it becomes way less interesting.
Yeah.
So I feel like companies, just get it together. Compensate people fairly. Don't leave them hanging. And understand the job you're asking people to do.
That part.
That's all I'm saying. Like,
and
honestly,
if you don't,
you're not going to succeed anyway.
Also, don't assume that it's like at the budget that you think. I don't know.
And you're not setting up that person for success, or your team for success, or your business for success. So just keep in mind what you want to allocate your money towards, and don't half-ass it. But anyways, back to just posting on Instagram ourselves. Yeah. I
think there's like the struggle as like the average user, or like the average person who, like, yeah, it'd be cool to go viral, but also like, I also just want to live my life.
Like, I don't want to cater my life around making something viral.
Right. And so I think that's when you think about the algorithm, you're like, okay, like for me, example, I'm like, I haven't posted in weeks or maybe months. I don't even know. But like, if I were to want something to be viral per se, I don't really know how favorable I am. You know what I mean?
In terms of algorithm wise.
Yeah. And I think that kind of sucks, because then that means like people who are genuinely like curating their content and like perfecting something and putting time and effort into something and take longer to put it out, and then they don't receive maybe the amount of like, or not even feedback, but they don't get the exposure that they deserve. I think that sucks. That really does suck. And I think they all like fix the algorithm. They allow for people to be searchable. Like, that's why TikTok is so cool, because like you can get somebody who has had a viral video, or someone who has like 13 likes, but you'll get everyone in between, and you're like, that's fucking awesome. I mean, that can turn somebody viral.
And it's less on you as an individual on TikTok. It's less about you as an individual and like what your account looks like. It's more like, who do you as an account interact with, and what is this content related to? And that's how they recommend you, because they're like, oh, you're talking about relationships? Cool. They like all these other podcasts about relationships, so we'll show you.
Yeah.
But you're right. Instagram is, which, like, I understand the idea behind it. Like, oh, people are liking it. They're engaging. They like your content. But it's like, okay, there's people making, maybe not better, but like other content as well. Like, I'm sorry, but I am slightly over influencers making, like, just the most boring content on Reels, where it's like, I'm cool with like an outfit video. Like, it's literally one clip and it's an outfit. Like, right? Or whatever. I get it.
Yeah.
It's cool. I see who you are. I see what you're wearing. I can get inspired, whatever, where you're at. But if it's literally like just the ocean for like 25 seconds and it's just like one singular quote, or like the stupid tips where it's like, read bio to get like top 10 tips to go viral. And I'm like, okay, yeah, of course people are interacting with this fucking shit, but the video itself is stupid. I'm sorry, but like, I mean, I get to, like, you're still offering education or whatever, but
I think it's only perpetuating like the
issue.
Yes. That you're trying to teach against almost, you know what I mean? Or how to beat the algorithm. It's just interesting. Yeah. But
at the end of the day, don't be embarrassed about what you want to post.
Whatever you want to post.
Yeah.
I think we should go back to and we've said this before, but go back to the days where you're just like posting
your new shoes.
My new Doc Martens.
Yep.
I keep saying I'm going to do that, but I don't.
Girl.
Time to get over my embarrassment. I'm going through a very pivotal time right now, where I feel like I'm really shedding this like skin of sorts of like, I'm shedding a lot, where I'm like, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm genuinely getting to a point like,
You literally have to.
I really don't care. Like, I'm more than happy to embarrass myself at this point. I'm doing shit that I thought would be really scary and embarrassing, and I'm fine with it. Like,
exactly.
you're still alive.
Right. We've done tons of embarrassing things in our lives as people. Like, middle school, elementary school, high school. Like, we've done all sorts of stuff.
Also, you can't... If you're, like, thinking, like, okay, but I want to be successful...
What do you think those people did all those years before they were successful? Risk. Yeah. People don't just wake up the next day. Like, they don't just post one thing and all of a sudden it's like, they're talented and everyone's obsessed with them.
They put themselves out there.
Yeah.
So you got it too.
I've been listening to the Armchair Expert podcast. I was telling you that I started from the beginning. And Dax Shepard literally...
Do you need to like go from the beginning? Like, do you feel like there's like
no,
anything
not at all. Well,
positive to it?
I mean, I think I think it was because one episode I listened to, he mentioned like something they'd spoken about in a previous episode. So I was like, I'm just gonna start from the beginning so that I like have context of like different discussions they've had, which is helpful. But whatever, he had been speaking about how he came to fame and how he literally was auditioning for like 10 years with nothing, like literally no jobs. He was never getting it, and then he got punked. And I'm like, yeah. And then you think, oh, he's an overnight success or whatever. And it's like, no, it did happen literally overnight in terms of I got my first gig and it was major.
Yeah.
But I've been working at it for 10 fucking years.
Yeah. About
to give up on myself or whatever. So, like, just do whatever you genuinely feel like you're called to. Posting, as simple as that. Posting on Instagram, whatever you're called to post. It's not that deep. And if you hate it in a year, you could totally archive it. Delete it.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Don't be embarrassed. Me speaking to Mel and myself.
Literally, though. So how far is too far?
Yeah.
Not far enough.
I'm like, post nudes. It's okay if your mom sees it. She gave birth to you.
I mean, Mom, you've seen this naked body.
Mom, you've seen me like this, kind of.
But no, for real. But I mean, you're probably gonna get like a what's it called?
Scolding?
No.
Talking to?
Like, Instagram's gonna shut that shit down.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're going full nude when kids follow you, that's maybe a bad choice.
But anyway.
Yeah. I think, do you, babe?
Do you. Have fun with it. I think that's, like, bring the fun back.
Yeah.
Bring the fun back. Well, with that said, if you are on Instagram right now, you're scrolling while you're listening to this or watching this or whatever.
Yes.
Find us and give us some love.
Follow us.
And go post your thing. Go post that thing that you're thinking about.
Don't be scared. Just do it. You never know.
Literally never.
Whether it doesn't go viral or only 4 people fucking like it, it's gonna be like, you know what? I have grown so much from this post. You know, it was a learning lesson regardless.
Go engage with us wherever you are listening to this. Follow us, subscribe, all the things. Give us a rating.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll catch you on